Welcome back to another episode of Agversity. I'm Lee Owen.
And I'm Jackson Shelley. And we have with us our good buddy Quentin Graves over here. He's going to be playing a little song on the guitar. Start us off in our episode. So, Quentin, why don't you go ahead and play us a little intro?
There you go.
That was a little Folsom Prison Blues by Mr. Johnny Cash. We love us Johnny Cash over in Agversity. But anyways.
Team Agversity loves Johnny Cash.
Oh, you know it.
You heard it here first.
But as you notice, we're doing audio only this time. See how that works out. So just let us know what you think about it in the comments, and just we'll take your suggestions to heart, and we'll change anything we know.
And this will be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts when it comes out.
Okay. But anyways, with this episode, we're just going to be talking about a little bit of everything. We don't really have a topic this time, so whatever comes to mind is what we're going to be talking about. So, Lee, why don't we just get started with saying what we've been up to lately?
So here lately, what we've been doing at FFA is we just had our regional event, Capital City Regional Day. It was just on last Monday, which was March the 11th? March 11th. And, well, I competed in the Prepared Public Speaking CDE, and Jackson competed in Senior Parlay. Sadly, neither one of us won our competitions, but there is always next year. Except for not for Jackson, but there is always next year for me.
Yes.
And I think that's something Jackson needs to keep in mind.
Yeah, there's not next year for
He can
me.
just root for me.
Yeah, I'll come back and I'll judge for you.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Insider trading. Make sure you get to go to state first time. But no, we've been doing that, and our Smith County greenhouse.
Oh yeah, our greenhouses at our chapter is coming along great. It's fun being out there.
Mm-hmm. Lee's in that the greenhouse preparation class, so he goes out there every day. And that will be opening on April 15th. So for all the community to come.
So be sure to check that out.
Yeah,
you can follow that page on Facebook and just be kept up to date with everything going on in the greenhouse.
Do you run that?
Yeah, actually, me and Dunaway both run that.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Dunaway is one of our ag advisors, for those of you that don't know.
Yeah, Daniel Dunaway, he graduated from EKU. He's a great guy. We love him.
Great man.
But anyways, so to start us off, we want to talk a little bit about his prepared public speech he had for his regional contest, and with that topic, he did mental health stigmas within agriculture. So, Lee, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so like Jackson mentioned, this was my topic for my prepared public speech, and basically what I did was I went into the effect and the stigma of mental health in rural America, and the effect that suicide, drug addiction, and mental illnesses have on farmers and agricultural workers. Now, I feel like this is a topic that isn't nearly discussed enough, and considering, we are Agversity and we do cover agricultural topics, I thought this would be a great episode to do and just see where things go from here. But I feel like it's pretty obvious to say that there's a huge stigma behind depression and behind mental illnesses. And I feel like that is especially prevalent in rural America. I mean, wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of not only like a stigma, but it's kind of like looked over in society. Many people think farmers are just happy, they're doing what they can. But
these stoic figures that, don't really have emotions, are just kind of easygoing and, just simple. But things are a lot more complicated than that. And I think that's something that everyone needs to realize, because you see all these statistics about rates of suicide, rates of depression, rates of mental illnesses, and drug overdoses. But you got to realize that these are real people with real stories, and that they're members of the communities that make America so special, and especially the agricultural communities, considering the agricultural industry is most definitely the lifeblood of America.
Yeah, as we see these suicide rates and different things happen in agriculture, we see these organizations start to form to help stop people from doing these things. So within dairy, we studied a organization called Farmers First Initiative.
Farmers First.
And it was a way to create like a hotline, much like the suicide prevention line, but for farmers. So if they're in need of money or in need of anything that could help their farm, they could call that hotline, and they would help provide them a way to get those resources so they wouldn't harm or do anything to harm their families or their farms.
And I mean, things like that, they're crucial to, opening up those lines of dialogue between farmers, agricultural workers. Because one of the biggest reasons that depression and suicide is so commonplace in rural America, I believe anyways, is that there's not that many programs out there to teach farmers, agricultural workers, and people that are involved in rural and agricultural communities the proper tools and knowledge, to deal with their emotions in a healthy and effective way.
Yeah, growing up on a farm, you're kind of taught to just bury your emotions and put forth the most hard work you can. And
just kind of get that,
shove those emotions
down in your gut.
Because as long as you're making money, you're living life as a farmer because that's really what you've been taught. But as we kind of see a shift more towards the modern farmer, we see a more of emotional side kind of lifting up out of more rural America. So,
and I feel like part of that is, farmers, I feel as if this isn't a new thing, but it's just now coming to light with all these rates of suicide. But I feel as if farmers have always struggled with depression and stuff like that. But due to like the social belief that men in general, and even women too, should not be open about their emotions and not need help, with their emotions. I think that's something important to realize, that this isn't a new issue, but it definitely needs a new solution.
Yeah, but as we talk about this, we're mostly talking about farmers, but not just farmers. If you are a person that needs help, always get help. I know we're focusing mainly on rural America as of now, but if you're listening to this and you need help, always definitely get some of that.
There's always someone out there to help.
Yeah, don't ever turn your back on anybody because you'll find somebody that can help you.
And the biggest thing about suicide that I've always thought of is, it is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yeah.
And I feel as if people with mental illnesses and people with depression, seem to forget that suicide isn't an option. But you get these people that minds are so fogged by, drug abuse, substance abuse, whether that's alcohol, whatever. And they're just not thinking straight. And then they go out and they start drinking, they start doing drugs, and it just kind of worsens everything. And it leaves them in terrible mental shape, like mental state of mind. And I feel like that's something to definitely advocate for and get everybody to know about that. And I feel as if a big part of that is, the ebb and flow nature of the market, and especially the current market with everything, just all over the place. And farmers wanting to be the provider for their families just don't have the tools to do that and to be the provider for their families because, their farms are failing and the farms are going under and they're just left without an option, without a hope, and, just drowning their sorrows and just hiding their sorrows, I guess, really. Mm-hmm. Just hiding from their family and from everybody that could help them.
And as we see this increase in the amount of opioids being abused in rural America, we definitely see a negative connection through the amount of opioids being used and the depression and the negative state of mind within farmers.
Yeah, and as like the rate of mental illnesses and depression goes up, I feel as if drugs are becoming more commonplace and tearing apart rural communities, tearing apart families, and not just in rural communities. Don't get me wrong, this is most definitely a problem we see in urbanized communities, urban cities, but this is hitting rural America pretty hard because you go out to these small farm towns, these small agricultural areas, and you don't have the resources or the programs to deal with addiction, to deal with alcohol abuse, to deal with your mental illnesses, and nobody really knows anything about it because they're just so sheltered from the fact that these things are out there.
Yeah, the government, as of now, I don't feel it's done a really good job of making this a known problem in America. They've kind of just shoved it on the carpet for now.
And I feel as if that's a bigger problem. Not just speaking on a political area, but I feel as if everyone is shoving this problem underneath the carpet because it is the cruel truth, and it is something that reflects poorly on America.
Yeah, we don't really want to think about how badly this is hurting our economy or anything within that, but it's just you never want to think about anything negative happening within rural America, but you definitely have to look at that just to help out.
It is most definitely a harsh reality.
Yeah, you don't ever want to think about it, but it's something you have to.
It's something that's there. It truly is a shadow being cast, over rural America.
Yeah, and many people are too afraid to admit they have a problem. So if you don't admit that you have a problem,
if you're out there and you're listening,
yeah, it's just many farmers, I feel like they have a stigma against admitting they have a problem and admitting
Yeah,
that they have.
I mean, the men thing, men in general are generally raised to be, tough guys and that tough guy exterior, and to not display their emotions and to kind of just shove those emotions down in their gut. You hear the saying, sayings like "cowboy up," "cowboys don't cry," and all this stuff. And I feel as if that plays a big role into how these young adults and these kids are turning into farmers and turning into people that go on in adults and unsure of how to deal with their emotional burdens, and this can lead to substance abuse, mental illnesses, and even suicide.
Yeah, it definitely has something to do with how you were raised as a child.
Early childhood development is most definitely a key part of this, I would say, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And we're not trying to throw any shade around anyone or anything. We're just saying this is, within studies that have been done, this is definitely shown to be the most prevalent source of where this comes from.
Yeah, and this is a big problem.
So definitely that's something we need to work on within.
That's just something to be aware of, I would most definitely say.
Not just like in America, but I'd say probably all over the world has problems with this, especially like in places like New Zealand and Japan, where agriculture is very big over there. And so you may see these,
especially in Japan. I mean, I've always heard that they're a real honor-based society, and that they're they always have to be the best. And if they're not the best, then what's the purpose of doing it?
Yeah.
And I feel as if mental illnesses can kind of fall into that. Pushing yourself to be something that you can't be. And sometimes you're good, or your best. Sometimes your best just isn't good enough. And I think that's something that people need to realize as well.
Yeah. Don't ever push yourself too hard, because you may end up falling back more than you.
I mean, I'm sure that's something. That's something me and you can both relate to.
Just being too harsh on yourself and making yourself want to be the best you can, but you just can't get any further. So you're just so cruel to yourself.
Sometimes, you're just stuck in a rut of wanting to be the best and wanting to put in that effort, but it just doesn't play out the way you want it to be. And that's something that people need to think about too. I mean, us. I mean, not just people. I mean, me and Jackson. I mean, we're both pretty critical of ourselves and always pushing ourselves to be better and to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And, that takes a toll.
Mm-hmm. But it always helps to talk to someone. Like, if you're having a problem, just find a friend. Like, I'm always texting Lee if anything happens. Like, I went and I played a tennis match. First ever tennis match, got beat 0-6 both times, and it was not pretty. So that was not good. So you definitely, if you find yourself in a rut and you find yourself not being able to be the best you can, and you're still pushing the hardest you can, just don't get down on yourself. Even
if you don't have anybody to talk to, I'm a big believer in, just thinking back on your day and journaling, whatever that looks like for you, whether that's just writing down, things that happened throughout the day, what feelings you had, what emotions you had. I feel like that's a real big support tool in, keeping up with your mental health and kind of developing that personal, well-being, mental health kind of plan.
Yeah, and just the thing, if you do need someone to talk to, you can always message us on Facebook. I'm pretty sure one of our numbers is on the Agversity page. Don't be afraid to give us a call. We're always here to help, here to listen. So I don't know if Lee's good with me saying that. I think it's his number in Facebook. So
that's fine by me.
Yeah, but if you ever need anything, just call us or Facebook message, and we'll be there to help. But
so going off kind of a more depressing topic, I mean, let's discuss something kind of upbeat and kind of less, dreary, I guess you should say.
Yeah. So me and Lee have been talking a lot recently about GMOs. We've been kind of doing kind of like how we did the hemp in Kentucky, how we did negative connotations of those. We've been kind of thinking about doing one of those on GMOs, and we thought we'd just bring a little bit of light to it in this episode and just talk a little bit about it. So GMOs really are
genetically modified organisms.
Yeah, as everyone calls them GMOs, but nobody really knows what that stands for.
Nobody really knows what genetically modified organisms means.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Even I'm sure there's people that are actually in the ag industry out there that don't really know exactly what that means and exactly what that means for a crop.
Yeah. Well, if you look up GMOs, you're probably going to find a picture of a large muscular cow that has been fed tons of hormones, because when I did it, that's exactly what I found. And so you look that up and you just get this like automatic Google image of a giant cow that has been fed these growth hormones and so you get this negative connotation of what it actually means. That was on a video, actually. It wasn't actually on that. But because I looked up negative
You
connotations.
just looked up GMOs and the cow did not pop up, folks.
Okay, look, it was on a video. I swear it was, because I remember showing Evan, our good friend, and he was like, "What in the world's that?" But anyways, it gets a negative connotation because you hear it all about growth hormones and it stunts.
And GMOs being so bad for you.
Yeah,
But I mean, really, GMOs have been a thing that farmers have been practicing since the dawn of agriculture, some 1,000 years ago. And it's not just, people in a lab, like actually messing with the DNA of these crops. But back in the day, people would crossbreed plants to get the best yield and to get the bigger yield, I guess you would say.
Yeah, and a lot of times you don't even know you're using GMOs. Like, it doesn't have, like, it has it on the package, but you just are so used to eating that product or using that product that you don't even realize that's GMOs. And until you know that, like, as we're looking at a graph right now, you can see how GMOs from 1996 for corn has grown from.
GMOs. You can definitely see an increase in the use of GMOs,
Yeah.
which you should. They're providing higher quality crops at a better yield, at a more yield, I guess, out of the field.
Yeah, so we can see, like, in 1996, it had almost like a 2% percent of farmland crop. And as we get into more 2014, it says it has
Almost pushing 90% of GMO use.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. And I feel as if a big thing behind GMOs is, this fear-based marketing of companies appealing to the side where they're saying they're not using GMOs to, hopefully persuade people that are against GMOs for some whatever reason to use their product. Like, I was watching a commercial the other day, and there was some controversy about this back in the day. I think it was from 2017. It was the Huntington Tomatoes video, and the video is basically a panorama of a tomato field, and there was words hanging above the field on a sign that said, "Not a GMO in sight." Well, folks, I don't know if you know this, but there are no GMO tomatoes. There are no GMOs in tomatoes. There just isn't. And you have companies like this using like misconceiving consumers by whatever means necessary to get that higher profit margin.
Yeah, this I wouldn't really call it propaganda, but miscommunication of what it actually is.
Like I said, fear-based marketing, fear mongering because it's definitely the quickest path to profit.
Tomatoes, considering none of them are genetically modified, and you just go and say that no tomatoes in this field are genetically modified, that'd be like me growing one tomato and like, this thing is genetically modified. What's stopping you from buying this one? Like, that's no different. So basically, there's no need for you to buy those